Well, Mamelodi Sundowns will be looking to end their DStv Premiership winning season with a victory against Maritzburg United at Loftus Stadium tonight. The Brazilians have already claimed the current domestic league championship, and a victory against the team of choice will see them set a new record of 72 points for a Premier Soccer League season. Sundowns face a 16th place Maritzburg. Their side desperately seeking a victory in order to climb out of the relegation zone. A loss tonight would guarantee a drop to the National First Division. Joining us to reflect on the Premiership season is iDiski Times football journalist Robyn-Duke Madlala. A very good evening. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika once again. So this is an incredibly important match for Maritzburg United because it means a couple of million rand to be dropped from the PSL.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. Look at Maritzburg, the situation there. I mean, they've never defeated Sundowns since match day in 2012-2013 season. I remember my good friend Deron Parker scored twice on that occasion, and they won 2-1. And then you just look at, I mean, the whole of this thing that is happening. Sundowns wanted to break the record which was just spoken about 2015-2016 season, where they achieved 71 points. And I mean, right now they got on 61 points. I mean, on 69 points. If they win, they're on 72 points. And also, they also want to match that record because in that season, when they won the league in 2015-2016 season, they also won 22 games. Right now, they won 21. So, and you can see Mokoena is determined just to create history with Sundowns. I mean, because you could see, I mean, he went 24 games unbeaten before they lost to Stellenbosch, and then you saw over the weekend the incredible performance that they showed against Wydad Casablanca in the first leg in Morocco, in Mamelodi Stadium. You know, it was just incredible. And you look at Maritzburg, they've got their, their backs against the wall today. You know, I mean, there's been so many controversies even before this game. But remember, Maritzburg were not happy that this game should have taken place today because it's going to give Marumo Galand and Chief United and then Richards Bay to an extent an advantage because all those teams will be playing, you know, on the weekend. But now Sundowns, because Sundowns got a capture coming up on Saturday, so that's why the game was brought forward. So the PSL said there's nothing they can do. This thing was done long time ago. So Maritzburg, they've got nothing. You know, they made their complaint, but the PSL refuted all of that, so they need to go out and win the game as said for the first time in 11 years to beat Mamelodi Sundowns. So they've got up against it.
Just how difficult will it be for Maritzburg United for such a quick turnaround of only 3 days?
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be difficult for them because you know they were tested also heavily by Stellenbosch. I mean, Stellenbosch, you know, were very, very good. You know, on Saturday, you know, as much as Maritzburg won the game, but you know they were tested heavily by Stellenbosch. Yes, Mohamed Sukuna standing and blasted the goal, you know, for Maritzburg, which was very, very key because failure to win anything. I mean, getting any points on on Saturday, it was going to be very bad for them. But also they were helped by TS Galaxy, who crashed Chief United by 4-0 in Bombela Stadium. So that made things also easy for Maritzburg because now the goal difference has shrunk to 1 because before that game, I think it was 6 goals. You know, Maritzburg, I mean, they were behind to Chief United. So now they've got one goal difference level on point. So, you know, they're going to be tested. You know, where, you know, you don't need the motivation. You just know that, you know, you have to go there and perform. You know, they were also in this situation in 2015-2016 season under Vedorov. You remember they were also at the bottom with 2 games to spare, and then they won against IS Cape Town, and then they moved up a bit, unlike this season. And then they're going to the last game of that season. They beat Jomo Cosmos 3-1, and then they were able to survive, and Jomo Cosmos were relegated at the time. So, but this time, when you look at this game they are playing today, it's a huge one because, as I said, I mean, Rolando Mokoena wants to set a record with this number of Sundowns in terms of the points tally since the league. Remember, changed the format from 18 teams to 16 ahead of 2002 and 3 seasons.
So you've got Rolando Mokoena who's chasing a record, but then you've also got Peter Shalulile who is wanting to put some daylight between himself and Kenyatta Moyo for the Leslie Manyetela Golden Boot.
And it's interesting because it's not part of the team sheet. You know, I just see the team sheet now. It's not part of the team sheet, and he's tied on goal with Kanyisa Mayo on 12 goals, and he's not part of the team sheet. So Kanyisa Mayo got a huge advantage coming over the weekend against Kara Chiefs at FNB Stadium. That if he wins, I mean, if Cape Town City get a penalty or anything, I'm sure he will be eager to go and take it. So. That's a surprise for me for Mamelodi Sundowns that Sunday is not part of the team sheet for Sundowns for today's game, knowing that, I mean, if he's coming up against White at Casablanca, because that's a huge one. I think no one will judge Sundowns of winning league with 7 games to play, but they will be judged on what they do when it comes to Champions League, because, I mean, they've been absolutely blasting. I mean, if you look at what they did in the quarterfinals against CR Belouizdad that away winning 4, that was, I mean, it's just a joy to watch. You know, I've never imagined in the history of South African football, I'll watch South African football go and dominate even teams from the north. You know, like it's just so pleasing and it's so beautiful. I mean, even I wrote a column the other day. I said, I've never thought in my life, in lifetime, I would see a team play so beautiful like Sundowns did. I mean, against White Hart. So, yeah, the issue of Sundowns, you were quite right. It will be interesting of, you know, what's going to happen. But, yeah, he's not part of the team tonight against Maritzburg.
Yeah, so that certainly is an indication of where the mind of Mamelodi Sundowns is at. You're based in KZN. How much of a loss would it be for football in the province without those Friday nights at Harry Gwala with Maritzburg United?
Yeah. You know what? It's a huge. You know, the atmosphere that always created at the Harry Gwala on a Friday night. It's huge. I mean, I'll be bitterly disappointed for them, you know, going down. But you know what? The signs were there, you know, during the first half of the season with an appointment of John Matu. Yes, and Maritzburg United boss said, I mean, when they appointed Matu, I remember they fired Medinov before, I think it was 3 weeks before the season starts, and Medinov had planned everything, you know, because remember they were also the World Cup, so there were games, you know, after another, I think in 3 or 4 days. So he had planned everything of how, I mean, in terms of the conditioning, the prioritization, you know, how the team is going to train, in terms of getting the, you know, before the season starts. And then Maritzburg decided to say, you know, let's part with it. And they bring in John Matuga, who did well with the Rally M after the finishing third. And then he comes in, you know, you could see he was struggling. I mean, he won only 2 games out of 13. And then before Maritzburg decided, you know what, let's part ways in November last year. And then they bring in Fado Davis. And then in 4 games, Fado Davis won 3. You know, they started to climb up. And then after that, the result just also fluctuating, went down. You know, I said it will be huge. I mean, there have been a huge club, especially in that part of, the capital of Capital in Maritzburg, because there's no much entertainment there. You know, it's only football. So when there's no club in the top flight football, you know, it's going to be very, very huge blow for the people of Maritzburg.
iDiski Times football journalist Robyn-Duke Madlala, thank you so much for your time.